Welcome back. The Philippine government has called for a new democratic multilateralism and an inclusive world economy that empowers not only a few but also the marginalized and vulnerable. In a pre-recorded message to the 15th United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, or UNCTAD 15, on October 5, Foreign Affairs Secretary Teodoro Locsin Jr. highlighted the need for a decisive transformation of multilateralism to address the gaps in multilateral development processes and the long-ignored vulnerabilities of developing countries, especially with the ongoing global health crisis. Take a look.
Addressing them requires a decisive transformation of multilateralism. I do not mean revising the rules-based international order that underpins the United Nations. Authoritarianism is not making a comeback in any lasting sense. It is just disguising itself as a call for intelligent order in democratic societies. But authoritarians do not possess intelligence. It is why they opt for sweeping, singular, ignorant, and immoral responses. Our call for transformation proceeds from a recognition of persistent inequity in global governance. We need a new outlook that does not shy from a factual diagnosis of the state of affairs. While globalization has been a force for substantial progress, it has left the many behind by enriching a few more. This new democratic multilateralism must facilitate inclusive transformations and resilient structures that leave less behind and take many more forward. In the digital economy, in a creative economy, in universal health coverage, in migration and remittances, and the employment of micro, small, and medium enterprises. Importantly, it must always integrate the interests of all developing countries, including middle-income countries where 75% of the world's population and 62% of the world's poor live. Ignoring these facts means a world economy where developing countries exploit the underdeveloped, the poor exploiting the poorer among themselves. What we have in mind is a world economy that fosters the well-being, inclusion, and empowerment of the marginalized and vulnerable. We seek a new world order, no longer for some, but for all. Finally, we need a multilateralism that looks beyond the broader horizon of the current crisis to the one that has been upon us and which we should put at front and center of our best endeavor, the mortal and well-advanced challenge of climate change. In this bold reinvention of multilateralism, UNCTAD must reclaim its centrality.
Established in 1964, the UNCTAD is considered the most inclusive multilateral forum for trade and development. Its three pillars of policy analysis, technical cooperation, and consensus building are intended to promote the interests of developing countries and to bridge the gap between poor and rich states. Many of the principles of global trade and development, including the special and differentiated treatment for developing countries in the World Trade Organization and generalized scheme of preferences, originated in UNCTAD discussions. The Philippines hosted the 5th UNCTAD in Manila back in 1979.